Is Kristin Cavallari a secret conservative? I thought it could be an interesting idea to do a video series where I target a celebrity and see whether they are secretly conservative or at minimum hold certain right-leaning views. This segment can only work as Conservative Watch, as most celebrities tend to lean left, and it would not make sense to do a segment like this for one who is left-leaning, because the majority of celebrities are. So, who is Kristin Cavallari? Initially known for her roles during the inception of reality television on pioneering shows like Laguna Beach and The Hills, and more recently the hit show Very Cavallari. Since then, she has utilized the fame she garnered in the early years to forge an impressive career in the entertainment industry as a host, a working actress, a jewelry designer, a fashion line for kids, and an overall business mogul with 3 product lines in several stores, impressively in several locations throughout the United States, including Nashville, Dallas, and Chicago. Originally, Kristin was raised in Chicago, a notable blue state. But this does not necessarily mean that a resident of a blue state is automatically left or right, as they could be somewhere in between. She left Chicago because her mother could not handle her rebellious attitude as a teen. And after consulting with Kristin's father, who lived in Orange County, California, Kristin moved in with her father and brother and stepmother in order for him to control her more and give her some much-needed structure and boundaries.
My mom wanted to ship me off to boarding school, and my dad said, let me give it a go. Let me see if I can control this wild beast.
It was her time here that resulted in her reality television debut, The Real OC. After a stint back and forth between Chicago and California, Kristin relocated permanently to Nashville, Tennessee, a red state, which she agrees is a wonderful place to raise children.
Was it hard leaving California and moving to Nashville? Are you glad you made that decision?
I am glad, and I'm out in California quite a bit still, so I can kind of get my little fix when I come out here. But yes, I mean, you know, I think if I didn't have a family, it would be a different story, but I love that I'm able to raise my kids in a fairly normal environment, and that they're going to public school and they're taking the bus. You know, like all of those things that I did growing up is really important for me with my kids.
You live in the city?
We don't. We're about 45 minutes outside of the city. So we just moved that far in August to have chickens and goats and kind of live this farm life, which has been really fun.
As we know, those who are on the left, oddly, appear to be pro-child mutilation, pro-turning their babies from one gender to another and exposing them to over-sexualized drag queens. I have no real information on Kristin's views regarding these atrocities, but where does she place her family above all things? Let's have a look.
Yeah, I started cooking when I had my first son, Camden. So he's almost 6, so almost 6 years ago. I just had this vision of myself being the mom that cooked dinner for her family every night. My mom did that for us, and I just always wanted to be that mom. So I started cooking, and I really changed my lifestyle.
Family togetherness is most certainly a value that conservatives hold. It appears Kristin really holds family dinners and the task of cooking for them as a duty of honor with her family. This action asserts the gender roles of wife and mother. In more recent times, conservatives really value the concept of farm life.
Is farm life, other than the chicken butt thing, are there any surprising things that you do on the farm?
Not really. I mean, we call it a farm, but really we only have chickens and ducks. We're talking about getting 2 donkeys, potentially. We had 2 goats for a minute, but they wouldn't stay in the fenced-in area, and people would come over and they would like jump on their cars, and they would sit on the front porch and poop all over the front porch. So we gave them away. They live a very happy life, so we're just down to the birds, essentially.
And why donkeys?
They're really sweet animals and very low maintenance. We love a good low maintenance animal over at our farm.
Don't we all?
Don't we all? We would do miniature ones. So I mean, they're, relatively small, and I think they would be good for our kids.
Owning one's own property and or raising children with responsibilities and permitting them to remain children and preserving their childhoods with a rural environment. As most of you know, the left has a vile, malicious agenda of sexualizing children and exposing them to adult topics that they are far too innocent to be exposed to. So what is Kristin Cavallari's response to children and protecting them?
It's funny because, I have 2 boys and a girl. They're 10, almost 9 and 7, and the boys are obsessed with YouTube stars now, and so they're like, we want a YouTube channel. Like, no, we're not doing any of that. I don't even put them on Instagram, and so, yeah, I just try to keep them kids as long as possible.
I love that, keep them kids.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
It all sounds positive and appears to be in the conservative realm. What are her views on gender roles? Kristin is not seemingly sold on gender roles. She is clear about her role as a mother and wife and being the cook and prioritizing the family above all else. This would be seen as traditional female-oriented roles, which she performs well and does with pride. However, in saying that, she has certain feminist views that were apparent on her reality show Very Cavallari.
We're not doing that.
Well, I could just buy it with my money. Oh, you don't like that, do you? Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh, a little
because
inner. I'm with you because I love you, not because I need you.
That's good to hear.
Boom. Power
Yeah.
of the pussy.
Oh my God.
The idea of being just a stay-at-home wife was not a desirable lifestyle to Kristin. She craved more than just the traditional role of a housewife and homemaker and mum.
Ultimately, what I've realized is that me working makes me a better mom and a better wife. Having that creative outlet and having something to call my own really, really helps me. And so being a mom is my number one priority. It always will be. It's also where I'm the happiest.
Right.
But I also get so much out of owning Uncommon James and doing that. So they both fuel one another,
She has built an empire since then in an attempt to do both. Kristin does, however, believe that a man should be a man. In fact, her preference is an alpha male, so gender roles are a check on her belief system.
And I wanted someone who could be the alpha, because I felt like everything in my life, I was always the alpha, so I wanted to be in the passenger seat for once. Okay, so where I'm at currently in my life, I want to be pursued. I want to be courted. I want the man to put in some effort.
Now I'm getting really personal here, but who is submissive in the bedroom?
So I'd say me. I'm kind of traditional in that sense where I want the guy to be the guy and, kind of take charge.
Now, before I enter into this portion, let me assert that there are plenty of people on the right-wing camp who are not at all anti-vaccine. In fact, they are critical, if not more cynical, than the leftists who are so willing to give themselves over to the system without researching what is in the vaccine, or for that matter, every vaccine. However, in more recent years, conservatism has become seen alongside anti-vaccination, and for good reason. The research is compelling in my view, and there are many prominent right-wing figures who are against vaccines. Kristin Cavallari is in good company with Candace Owens, being staunchly against vaccines and even presenting her own show on Parler called Shot in the Dark. Here is Kristin Cavallari explaining her perspective on vaccines.
Are you opposed to vaccines? Oh, we didn't vaccinate. There is a pediatric group. They've never vaccinated any of their children, and they haven't had one case of autism.
But let it be noted, she had never intended on this view coming to light.
And listen, here's the thing. Vaccines are not something I wanted to publicly come out and speak on. I sort of got bombarded in this interview and thrown off guard. There's really scary statistics out there, and to each their own. I've read too many books, and
autism wasn't prevalent like it is now years ago. So something's going on, whether it's the chemicals in our food or the vaccines, because there's more mercury and all other sorts of things in them. Something's happening, we can't really ignore that. I choose to believe that I think it's in the vaccines, but again, to each their own, and that's where I stand on it.
This was a constant theme throughout the series of Very Cavallari. There are plenty of scenes where her staff acted like entitled teenagers and Kristin had to whip their butts into gear.
They're like so upset that Kaylee is back and causing a scene at the cocktail party, storming out and crying. Like, all the girls then think that that behavior is okay. And I gotta tell you, it's so unprofessional. I can't have that going on in this company.
I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but like so many people did not like her.
I don't give a if you like Kaylee. I don't care if you like Kaylee. But I do care that you keep it professional here.
Also, when speaking to fellow anti-vax host Jenny McCarthy, they seem to vibe on the work ethic of today's Gen Z. Take a look.
And you show how dumb millennials are.
They're a lazy bunch, man. Well, okay, so technically I'm actually a millennial.
I know you are, but you're different.
I really classify it like the early 20s. Nobody wants to work anymore, and everyone wants to just make $1 million, but not actually do anything for that $1 million. So it's been tough.
It's amazing how they want to come in and be the boss.
Yeah.
Within the first week, someone asked me, an assistant, 1 week went by and she said, "Can I be the president of your company?"
Doesn't surprise me.
And
this is their mentality.
I go, "Girlfriend, you pick up dry cleaning."
Literally.
And I am the president and the only employee of my company.
Yeah, everyone calm down. Yeah, it's very interesting. They don't wanna pay their dues or put in the work.
Here is a quick snippet of a Prager University video describing the specifics of work life and what one learns in the real world on the job, as opposed to those who are college educated.
So, I'm grateful to have worked at McDonald's. It taught me how to better handle my anxiety, how to work with others in pursuit of a common goal. It strengthened my character, my work ethic, and my sense of my own resilience. These are lessons that cannot be learned in the safe spaces of the Haverford campus. Here's one more thing I learned. Putting oneself first is the essence of privilege, but putting oneself first does not develop character or lead to personal growth. Putting others first does. McDonald's is a far better teacher of that lesson than college.
What are her views on former President Trump? I don't think we are well informed on her overall political opinions in terms of being left-wing or right-wing or moderate. All of this is an assessment based on speculation, based again on the stereotypes of what aligns the left and right. And the following was Kristin Cavallari's reaction to President Trump's vile locker room talk, which she remarked that men, generally speaking, do talk this way amongst themselves.
I actually do think that the guys do talk like that. They do. However, obviously as a woman, as a mother, no, I don't want to hear that.
Right.
However, guys are kind of sleazy and they do talk about that stuff. Some of my girlfriends talk like that.
Kristin also weighed in on Trump's controversial quote, "When you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything."
Obviously, and guys with power and money, they kind of can get any girl, unfortunately.
Yes.
They kind of can do whatever they want,
Yes.
which isn't necessarily okay.
Right.
But I do think that kind of talk probably happens more than we think.
If you heard one of your sons talk like that, you would wash his mouth with soap.
I'll probably slap him across the face.
She defended him based on the logic of how men banter. What are her views on sexual promiscuity and sexual purity? This is not exactly clear, but the pieces of information that can be strung together show us that in her early years, she was indeed rebellious and enjoyed casual sex and was having sex at 14 or 15.
I started getting into quite a bit of trouble when I was in 8th grade. I would sneak out a lot. I remember one time I stole my stepbrother's car. I started drinking, smoking pot, having sex. I got arrested a couple times.
As an adult, she managed to stay married for over a decade with American footballer Jay Cutler, and then initiated a divorce and is now dating again, although while she admits to enjoying sex, she does not actually appreciate a promiscuous man or woman, referring to them as trash buckets.
Does someone's prior dating history in the industry affect if you're going to pursue them?
I would be lying if I said not at all, but if you've dated some f***ing trash buckets, yeah, it kind of stands out.
Give us the definition of a trash.
Just like a trashy girl.
Got it.
Yeah, like that, because then I'm like, why would you be into me? I'm not saying I'm a f***ing saint, but you know what I mean?
Again, this is a view that veers towards the right over the left. Finally, abortion. This is usually a hot button issue for conservatives because we believe in the right of the child to live. Where does Kristin Cavallari stand on abortion? Well, according to this podcast, she is in fact bothered by the concept that her daughter may not have the option in future to choose whether she can kill her baby in the womb if sexual misconduct takes place.
Where you are has banned abortion until 6 weeks and is planning, and it will be banned entirely. Do you feel nervous about, what kind of conversation you will have with your daughter if you do stay in Tennessee?
Yeah, and even beyond that, I think just this world that we're living in right now is scary. It just is. I will say though, I'm happy that we're in Tennessee right now. I mean, I'm out in the country. I really, in my heart, believe that things are going to get so bad to get better. I think that this is just something we have to go through collectively to hopefully come out on the other side. It's scary, but all we can do is try to instill what wisdom we have in our children and send them off and really hope for the best. I don't know. The abortion conversation specifically, I haven't even thought how I have that conversation with my daughter. I mean, she's 6, thank God, but I'm really hoping that things change by the time she's a little bit older.
Interesting. So whilst this is a disappointment in terms of my overall admiration for her, as she builds her life around her children and being physically fit, which once again, an ideal predominantly held by the right. As the right believes in a meritocracy and earning your way into your physical fitness or position in society. But unlike the left, I also, unlike many puritanical right-wingers, hold the capacity to still admire her in spite of her pro-choice position. I am not for it, and it is disappointing, but I am not a single-issue voter. So final conclusion, is Kristin Cavallari a secret conservative? I think she is a moderate with some choice conservative leanings. It helps that she was married to an athlete who leans right and supports Donald Trump and was seen with Republican pundit, debatable conservative, the beautiful Tomi Lahren. I hope you enjoyed this video analysis of Conservative Watch.